sometimes I get lucky, which is great. Loyalty and Blood, Viktor Origins is one of those times I got lucky. Either I accidentally stumbled upon the game in Steam, or maybe it was shared on Twitter. Thank you, that person. Either way, I'm incredibly happy I got the chance to play this game. It's really good. Now, because you probably haven't seen anything about Loyalty and Blood, let me give you some background. You play as Viktor, returned home after a long time away to find your brother Zane as the commander of the Legion. The Legion is a fighting force that protects this world, or their world, from the Netherworld. That's a lot of worlds. Note, there might be some bad blood between them after Viktor spent so much time away. Zane was at home caring for their dying mother, and then he had to join the Legion, and it's like a whole mess. So yeah, there probably is some bad blood there, huh? Anyway, Viktor joins up with the Legion to help his brother. You start taking missions, which have a few different objectives, but generally the levels are similar. They are a short run through a maze-like platformer with many enemies. That doesn't mean they're at all boring, though. There is a large variety of enemies that completely change how you play a level. For example, exploding bats will fly right at you. It's best to take a level with those slower. Or just how many traps there are in the game, like spikes, you need to be careful of. Also, Viktor is agile. You get a double jump and a short teleport. What's great about the teleport is that you can go through walls, which creates a lot of shortcuts and secrets. It's useful for trying to blitz levels, which is absolutely my playstyle. And to feed into this, there are time-based side objectives for most levels, where you need to beat the level under a certain time. That's kind of a time-based objective. However, this is usually much easier if you know the layout. So if you really want to go for them, you're gonna have to replay levels. Those side objectives, though, of course, they're not required. Now I want to stress how short these missions are, often under 2 minutes. At first it was confusing how a story-based game had such short levels, but it works. There's plenty of levels here, even extra side ones that keep the game varied. They even have this one where you play with an AI, which is fantastic for building the story. They were not afraid to throw something different in there. I found myself jumping from one mission to the next, wanting to experience more. But I could see how some players are going to find them repetitive. There are many missions where the objective is to kill an amount of enemies, like 6 bats. The developer definitely overused that mission type. I did find myself enjoying them anyway, since the mechanics and guns are so good. There are even bounty missions that open up later in the game. These are more difficult, more specific missions, like having to kill a strong bat or kill a boss and take back a pendant. Either way, it's more content to be enjoyed. But what really stands out to me are the bosses. They're awesome. Excellent difficulty paired with interesting mechanics. I struggled a bit and had to repeatedly play each boss, even trying different weapons on one. I especially enjoyed this skeleton fight. First, I had a grudge to settle, and second, it's so unexpected. Sorry about that. I don't want to spoil that for anyone. Moving on. Since Loyalty and Blood is a platformer, my first instinct was to play with a controller. This is a huge mistake. You definitely want to play with a keyboard and mouse. The layout for the controller is all wrong. I suppose I could take the time and rebind all the keys, or with enough practice, it could work. But why try so hard when the keyboard and mouse work well enough? Although the game's rebinding menu leaves a lot to be desired. You can't unbind certain buttons, which defeats the purpose of having the menu in the first place. Anyway, I also appreciate all the equipment Loyalty and Blood has. This includes weapons, armor, and gems. It's all good, but the guns, it's where it's at. This grenade launcher is a beast, but the Devastator is the real workhorse. I found myself using that gun almost all the time, firing 3 shots at a time for a maximum of 96 damage per clip, which is important to know since reload times can be extensive. It's how they balanced the guns. Now, the guns aren't handed to the player though. You need to craft them. You'll find blueprints, and then using the materials and money you find in every level, the gun can be crafted. It's difficult to know which one you want, and there's no way to test them out, so you just kind of guess. And so far I've had enough resources for all the weapons I wanted to craft, but you might have to replay some levels for the resources. The game does try and force you to use certain weapons as side objectives. But I have to say, screw that sometimes. When they want you to use the starting rifle, which is fine by the way, perfectly acceptable gun, and you only want to use this awesome, fast-shooting fire rifle, well, I don't know about you, but I'm going to choose to use the gun I want to use, the cool weapon. So sometimes I ignore the objective, and that's worked out so far. I am being a little silly here, but it's true. The starting guns are good enough to finish the game with. And the reveal rifle is a gun that also reveals secret areas, which is awesome. So you'll probably want to take the reveal rifle with you on every mission, but I just want to use the more interesting and exciting grenade launcher. As I said though, there is armor and gems in the game, and they work together. The armor has slots and a power limit, so you can only place so many gems in each piece. The gems are easy to get, you only need to buy them in headquarters. As you progress in the game, stronger ones magically become available in the shop. I haven't been able to figure out how to unslot the gems, which is rather frustrating. So one of the issues I have with the game relates to how the armor and weapons are given to the player. You need to find blueprints. For some reason, finding the blueprints for weapons is a lot easier. It feels like the game is giving these to me as I progress, which is great, but the armor blueprints are scattered in a level, and sometimes they are not easy to find. I'm talking behind a secret wall or teleporting to an almost off-screen area. You might end up exploring every nook and cranny for a blueprint only to come up empty-handed. All I can say is that it's at least not the weapons, and also it's probably the point of them to make it a little bit more difficult to find, but that doesn't really help the player who's struggling and needs the armor. Before I finish this review, it would be a mistake if I didn't mention the story. While it's cheesy, I found it to be there only to drive the gameplay. It puts Viktor in a place to go on these missions. Note that it is related to the developer's previous game titled Viktor, but playing that other game is not required because I've never played it and I still enjoyed this one. Overall, Loyalty and Blood is fun and it's worth your time. It's a smooth experience that has a lot of content. While it could be shortened up a bit and the missions have similar objectives, I still find myself going back to play more. I hope to see more from this developer, maybe in this world, in the future.